My understanding is that the biggest crypto failure in history is probably FTX at $9 billion. Were you the chairman of the SEC when FTX collapsed?
Yes,
And how many times did you meet with FTX prior to their collapse?
I think my public record shows 2.
You met it with FTX at least twice. And arguably, the second biggest crypto failure in history was Terra Luna. Who was the chairman of the SEC when Terra Luna collapsed, sir?
We had brought...
You were, sir. Reclaiming my time. You were.
Alrighty, what is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another CYPRX video breakdown. In today's video, we have a series of high-end key speakers from panel discussion video breakdowns that I'm going to conjoin for you all today. If you all enjoy deep rabbit hole dives, make sure that you smash that thumbs up button, subscribe to the channel. I do appreciate the love and the support, and it does help push these videos out to more individuals like yourselves. Comment in the description down below your personal opinion on this video breakdown. Without further ado, let's sit back, relax, and jump in. So the first series of video clips that I have to display for you all today is from Matt Cronin, the Office of the National Cyber Director of the White House. So take a second and listen to what this gentleman has to say.
And greater resiliency. Now, what does that mean in the digital assets space? I think one of the things we have to think about going as we make sure that we invest in this technology and ensure the United States primacy in this technology is which founders, which technologists and programmers are putting cybersecurity as a foundational design principle.
As a foundational design principle.
And those that do will be the ones that succeed, because that issue of security is at the forefront of everyone's mind in the government and now in the private sector as well. What are some areas where digital assets, the founders in this space, the coders, can consider that sort of foundational resiliency? So when you're creating these platforms, you should be thinking through, how can we ensure that the right people are using them to enable commerce, to enable freedom and democracy in a way that is compatible with our fundamental values? And I'm willing to bet, again, we're all speaking in our personal capacity, that the companies and the platforms that do that do the hard work up front, that engage in that resiliency issue, will be the ones that succeed. In the coming years.
So Matt Cronin goes on to mention two key vocabulary words, cybersecurity and resiliency. And he goes on to talk about how the companies, the projects, the developers that have foundational design principle for these two things will be the ones that last long term in the future. Now, when someone talks about crypto companies that focus on cybersecurity and resiliency lasting long term in the future, they're making an assumption that there will be a future for these companies to operate in, and that is extremely beneficial to early investors in this technological space. Now, this assumption is most likely based on the belief that the use of cryptos and blockchain technology will continue to grow and become more mainstream, even as the technology evolves and becomes more complex. Now, in this scenario, there will always be a need for companies that specialize in cybersecurity and resiliency, as there will always be risks of hacking, fraud, and other forms of cyber attacks. Now, I want to take your attention over here to some interesting fundamentals that have recently developed. This is an article that was posted on April 6th, Fortifying Trust, how the XDC network leverages cutting-edge security measures to safeguard blockchain transactions. And if you remember from what Matt Cronin specifically said, is that companies that have a foundational design principle for cybersecurity will be one of the ones that last long term.
Which founders, which technologists and programmers are putting cybersecurity as a foundational design principle?
Well, let's pay attention to some interesting highlights from some of these fundamentals. As the XDC network continues to grow and thrive in the blockchain space, it is essential to maintain a high level of security to protect against potential threats. The XDC network takes great pride in maintaining the highest level of security possible and is committed to providing its users with the peace of mind they need when conducting transactions on the platform. By prioritizing security, the XDC network is setting the standard for safe and secure blockchain transactions. Besides providing a secure and tamper-proof environment for blockchain transactions, the XDC network has implemented advanced analytics and risk management systems to ensure the safety of all users. With the ever-growing threats of cyber attacks and fraudulent activities in the digital space, a robust security infrastructure is essential. XDC's network commitment to safeguarding its users and their assets from potential threats is commendable. That is a massive statement. Go ahead and smash that thumbs up button and subscribe if you are an XDC holder. To continue down this rabbit hole, this is a fundamental that came out on April 10th, just a couple of days after. Unlocking the secrets of the network security. Key takeaways from the XDC Network Security Summit that took place. Moving on, we also see a fundamental article that goes on to read, Happy and Zinfin's XDC Network. The XDC network created by Zinfin is a leading open source blockchain solution offering a unique combination of security, speed, and scalability. The XDC network features cross-chain functionality and interoperable smart contracts through hybrid relay bridges. While the network was built to address institutional use cases, it is also seeing increased adoption by independent community contributors. Should the XDC network see significant institutional adoption, it could support an emerging global financial infrastructure powered by blockchain. We hope to support the healthy development of private, non-custodial, and decentralized blockchains, which can also function as enterprise-grade, regulatory-compliant technology solutions for institutional use. That is a massive statement right there. We believe our efforts will proactively attract astute players to emerging financial technology solutions such as the XDC network. Not only will this partnership with Zinfin benefit both parties through the mutual exchange of cybersecurity practices, there's that vocab word, but it will also serve as a bedrock for a secure, high-integrity blockchain infrastructure, sowing the seeds of safe enterprise-ready blockchain usage. In my personal opinion, just through reading a few of these fundamentals, their focus, their foundational design principle seems to be focused on cybersecurity as one of their main principles, right? Moving on. Let's now focus on the term resiliency. These are two fundamentals surrounding Hedera hashgraph. This article goes on to read, the journey from aha moment to market launch is rarely linear. Obstacles in scaling, implementation, funding, more abound, and ability to adapt and stay the course is essential. Resilience, there's that vocab word right there, is the ability to draw a straight line made up of crooked marks, says Mance Harmon, co-founder of North Texas-based distributed ledger technology company Hedera hashgraph. He and the 67 other finalists and winners in the Innovation Awards of 2023, presented by the DCEO in partnership with Dallas Innovates, have shown many forms of resiliency throughout their journeys to creating products and technology that are shaping our future. The leaders have shown an ability to beat the odds, take risks, pivot, persist, and more. So there's a fundamental that it goes on to mention resiliency as a key talking point, specifically focusing on what Matt Croman went on to say about the future of this space and the companies that will last long term. Here's another interesting article. It goes on to read, Antech, an award-winning software company modernizing central bank infrastructure for financial inclusion and resilience with blockchain-based platforms, and Hedera hashgraph, provider of the most used sustainable enterprise-grade public network for the decentralized economy. It also goes on to say down here, the joint effort will bring together Antech's Ethereum-based CBDC core solution and Hedera's public ledger, targeting a faster, more secure alternative to legacy blockchain consensus mechanisms. Blockchain technology and the mechanisms of distributed ledgers are new and important, especially for emerging markets. In developing a cash-like central bank digital currency, we know scalability, resilience, and performance are expected. That is a massive statement again right there, surrounding the two key vocabulary words, cybersecurity and resiliency, that Matt Cronin said that companies need to have in their foundational design principles in order to last long term. With that being said, The fact that these two companies are focusing on cybersecurity and resiliency indicates that they are taking proactive measures to address these risks, which can help ensure their longevity in the industry. As the threat of the landscape continues to evolve, companies that are able to stay ahead of the curve and adapt to changing circumstances are more likely to survive and thrive. And the XDC network and Hedera hashgraph are two of those companies that are doing just that. Therefore, when someone like Matt Cronin talks about crypto companies that focus on cybersecurity and resiliency lasting long-term in the future, he is essentially expressing confidence in the continued growth and success of the cryptocurrency industry and the ability of these companies to adapt to changing circumstances and remain competitive over the long term. Something that we've been talking about on the CYPRX platform for quite a while now is to have that long-term vision. Now, to avert your attention back to the video clips, we had the Honorable Gary Gensler testify in front of Congress today, and Congress chewed him a new one. Now, here's one of those video clips specifically pulled from Watcher Guru on Twitter, and it goes on to say, just in, the SEC chair Gary Gensler blames Silicon Valley Bank for the collapse on crypto. After I play this video clip, we're going to play an opposing video clip where I'm going to show you that crypto had nothing to do with the recent banking collapse.
The biggest, Silicon Valley Bank, actually, when it failed, you saw this country's the world's second leading stable coin, had $3 billion involved there, DPEG. So it's interesting just how this was all had some crypto narrative as well. So it's interesting just how this was all had some crypto narrative as well.
We had a lot of headlines over this last year, and most of them were horrible. It's probably like the worst year in crypto history. I think observers made the mistake of assigning these headlines to cryptocurrency broadly, when nearly every single disaster was a disaster of centralized intermediaries, and really had nothing to do with the specific technologies that are the reasons we're all here. So decentralized finance obviously works according to immutable code that anyone can see, open source, and it acts precisely according to that code. Intermediaries run according to the squishy feelings and behaviors of humans. And so this last year, I think, was really an example of demonstrating the superiority of open immutable code over the rules and behaviors of central intermediaries.
My understanding is that the biggest crypto failure in history is probably FTX at $9 billion. Were you the chairman of the SEC when FTX collapsed?
Yes.
And how many times did you meet with FTX prior to their collapse?
I think my public record shows 2.
You met it with FTX at least twice. And arguably, the second biggest crypto failure in history was Terra Luna. Who was the chairman of the SEC when Terra Luna collapsed, sir?
We had brought...
You were, sir. Reclaiming my time. You were.
Now, I want to take your attention over here to an article that was posted from Forbes just the other day, and it goes on to read, not every bank failure is caused by crypto, and recent ones are no exception. Out of the many reasons behind the catastrophic collapse of Silvergate Bank, followed by Silicon Valley Bank and Signature Bank, marking the second and third largest banking collapses in the U.S. history, the cryptocurrency industry is not one of them. To the contrary, the true culprits behind the banking crisis were a mixture of corporate mismanagement and inconsistent regulatory responses. On the other hand, the cryptocurrency industry is largely decentralized and operates independently of traditional financial institutions such as banks, as you heard that gentleman specifically talking about. Now, while there have been some cases of fraud and regulatory noncompliance within the crypto industry, these issues are not systematic in the same way that they can be in the banking sector. And just to prove what it is that I'm saying to you all, here's a fundamental article that came out directly from the IMF. And it goes on to read, from January 18th, 2023, so this is recent and updated, stronger financial regulation and supervision in developing global standards can help address many concerns about crypto. And if you ignore all the fluff in this article and you pay attention to this key highlight, it goes on to say, crypto assets, including stablecoins, are not yet risks to the global financial system. So again, Gary Gensler testifying in front of Congress and saying that crypto had something to do with the banking collapse is completely due to ignorance and Gary Gensler not understanding how this environment, this crypto space, this crypto ecosystem actually truly works. Now, it is also worth noting that the crypto industry is still relatively new and untested and has not yet reached the same level of maturity as the banking sector. Therefore, it may be premature to draw direct comparisons between the two industries, and it seems weird how Gary Gensler does not know how to separate the two. Now, we have to understand that there are certainly risks and challenges associated with the cryptocurrency industry that we cannot deny. But in doing your own personal research, you will most likely come to the important conclusion and recognize that the recent banking failures in the United States were largely unrelated to blockchain and distributed ledger technology and were instead caused by internal issues within the bank themselves. With that being said, make sure that you all are doing your own personal research when investing in this space, especially considering the early environment that we are operating in.
But it's demonstrated by everyone in this room and everyone watching. The interest is growing. Why are we not seeing, a flight of funds to decentralization? There's a lot of what I would call swirl. It's the uncertainty about exactly what is safe. You look at social media as the source of information for this industry. There are a lot of different voices out there, and we also have a lot of fraud in this space. Wherever there is value, wherever there is money, there are going to be people looking to make money at the expense of others, certainly illicitly and illegally. And so that, I think, is one of the challenges that those who are leading voices in the industry and advocates for the space can do a lot to help really clarify some of those things. And I think as we get best practices and as you have truly decentralized rails, people will see the value and understand that better. But I think part of it is a communication challenge and so much noise that is out there that is frankly confusing to average people.
Now, last but not least, for people to see value in the cryptocurrency market, there needs to be a shift in perception regarding the potential of this technology. Many people still view cryptocurrencies as speculative investments, rather than a viable alternative to traditional financial systems. And in order to change this perception, the crypto industry needs to continue to develop and showcase its utility and value. Now, this can be achieved through the crypto assets that provide tangible benefits, such as faster and cheaper transactions, increased security and privacy, and greater financial inclusivity. The industry needs to focus on building a robust and reliable infrastructure that can support the widespread adoption of crypto assets. This includes improving user interfaces, expanding merchant acceptance, and providing accessible and user-friendly educational resources. For early investors in this technology, it's important to focus on crypto assets that provide utility and value for the future of our global financial system. And that is something that we've been stressing about for the longest time on the CYPRX platforms. Do not just go out there and look at your favorite meme coins and think that because every other retail investor is investing that you're going to miss out on some golden opportunity. The assets that are most likely to see widespread adoption and long-term success are the ones that are focused on providing utility and value for the future of our global financial system. With that being said, as always, make sure that you all are conducting your own personal research. I'm not telling you all to go out there and buy XDC. I'm not telling you all to go out there and buy Hbar. Do your own research. It is not hard to open up some documents and formulate and create your own opinion and bias based off the fundamentals in the documents that you can go online and read yourselves. As always, ladies and gentlemen, many blessings to you all. If you all enjoyed this video breakdown, smash that thumbs up button, subscribe to the channel. We do appreciate the love and the support. As always, I will see you all in the next video breakdown.